When you're looking to purchase PC components, it's important to understand what your specific needs are and how the components that you are looking at might impact your performance overall. So for example, if you're a big gamer, you would be surprised to know that actually your monitor and your graphics card are two really important things. But if you're a professional and you're like a video editor or an engineer using like AutoCAD or something like that, there's a strong chance that maybe your RAM and your processor and even potentially your motherboard are having more of an impact. Really, it depends on like exactly what you're doing and overall your needs. But today, I kind of wanted to take a look at, if you are a gamer, looking at your graphics card and looking at the processors that come with it, how much are you actually getting out of your processor, and should you look at getting more? So in this video, we have an Aorus GeForce RTX 3080, this monster massive card. It is very strong, whoop, almost dropped it there, and offers very solid performance. And we're gonna be pairing it with the 4 processors behind me. Now, they are all different in age, they're all different in speed, and kind of what I wanted to do with this video was identify, is there kind of a sweet spot for this 3080? And potentially if you're looking to upgrade your processor or even your graphics card, like, is there too much or too little? And can you try to spend the right amount to get what you're looking for? So the processors I have behind me are an old i5-4590. This is an Intel processor that came out 12 years ago. We have a Ryzen 5 2600. This is an older one as well. We have the old faithful Ryzen 5 5500, and then we have a Ryzen 5 9600X. So this is going to give us a variety of speeds and really help determine how this thing is going to game. Because this 3080 is still pretty much a powerhouse, we're gonna be testing out 2 different games in 1440p today. So we're gonna be testing out Crimson Desert and Space Marine 2, both very visually stunning and high quality looking games. And we wanna see how far we can kind of push these processors with the 3080. Now you guys, my numbers aren't always the most scientific. What I'm really going to be giving you the best thing is my anecdotal experience. So as we go through the processors, you're going to know if there's lag, latency, delay, what the visual quality looks like, because sometimes YouTube can, compress videos and they don't look as high quality there. So you'll get to kind of hear my experience, because I haven't tested it on some of these PCs yet, so I have no clue. All the reactions you're gonna be getting are authentic and in real time. And then I will have like an FPS counter. We will look at the CPU utilization if we're getting bottlenecked in some areas to the best of my abilities. So let's go ahead and test those out. But really quickly before we do that, I do have a newsletter where it is a free subscription that I offer to you guys, where you can actually see the upcoming content that's gonna come out on this channel. You actually have the ability to comment on that newsletter, letting me know like what you would like to see out of those videos. So I really just throw rough ideas out there. And then if any viewers have comments, I will go through there and potentially include that in the video. If there's like specific games you wanna see, like in this video, the 3080, maybe someone would have requested Cyberpunk or Black Myth Wukong or whatever it might be. So you guys have the ability to kind of contribute to the channel. I am hosting a PC building class this Friday, March 27th at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. It is $10 to sign up. You will be sitting in a live stream with me, and you can ask whatever questions you want. This is really targeted at very beginning builders. If you've never built a PC, if you've had 10 years of experience, you're probably gonna know more and be better at this than I am. But it's just a spot where if you were thinking about purchasing PC components and it's really intimidating, you don't want to break anything, I will be available to ask any question that you might have as I go through the building process. If you're interested in either of those things, I will have them both linked down in the description. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get into the testing. I will never not say this. I cannot believe this game actually loads on this processor, because it takes me like an hour every time. So I did this with the 2080 as well, the 4590. I actually did a 9600K instead of the 2600, the Ryzen. But yeah, it takes me like an hour every time just to get this thing to the game to start, to compile the shaders, and then to get through the loading screen. So again, I am just amazed that it actually runs it. But you guys should be able to see up here the FPS numbers and all of that kind of stuff. Somehow we're getting 90 FPS. I'm gonna jump into settings because I legitimately don't know what we have it on. What are the settings on here? Let's go look at the graphics. Everything's on low. Cool. Does it feel okay? Whoa. That looks so much better than it did on the, that looks so much cleaner on the, so I did the 2080 on a 1080p monitor, and that looks incredible. Dang. Where am I going here? Run forward. Oh, I have to go through and do this whole thing again. So first of all, oh, cool. It's showing me that this is coming up. This looks so much better than it did on the 2080, which is just mind-boggling. Again, that was a 1080p monitor. This is a 1440p monitor, so I'm curious if it would have looked better on a 1440p monitor. But this is really impressive. Whoa. This is kind of cool. I think I made it to that door last time and I had no clue what I was doing. Okay, that felt like it could be a little slow. Like, look, now that's just the game. Reflect light with your sword to disrupt enemies' vision, spot enemy weak spots, and find special items hidden throughout the Bible while using blinding flash. Okay, so what am I reflecting here? This? Use blinding flash. Aim it up there to focus light on the device. What device? That up there, right? Okay, so apparently this is the hardest thing ever, and I actually wanted to make it past it to figure it out for you guys, so I am gonna do it now appropriately, I think. I think this is right? 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 Come on. Why is this so hard? This is literally a tutorial. There we go. Did I actually figure it out? Holy cow, that was so hard. This is a tutorial and I couldn't figure out what in the world I was doing. Okay, so back to the actual description of the game here, or I guess just the graphics. One, it does look really, 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 really good for being on a 4590. I should have gone back and retested on the 2080 to see what it looks like there, but so far I'm really impressed. I think that I cannot believe it paired with this. I would not recommend doing it unless you just have an hour, hour and a half of your time to kill and want to see what it looks like on this, because that's how long it took just to get the game to load. So let's go ahead and jump over to Space Marine and we'll test that out on the 3080 with the 4590. All right, guys, so now we have Space Marine 2 loaded up. First impressions is, holy cow, does this look amazing? This is on a 4590. Let's go ahead and run through the settings really quick. I have not played this game a whole lot, so don't know a lot about it or how to play it. So we are on native. That's good to know. You guys yell at me about that all the time. VSync is off. No FPS limit. Oh, wait. Ultra? I don't want to be on ultra. Out of video memory. Wait, was it saying that I was... Interesting. It's saying that I'm running out of VRAM for ultra? Okay, cool. Let's just put everything on low because we are on a 4590. We will go up a little bit, but I don't think we should be running it on ultra. Okay, so it does look a little worse there, but yeah, I mean, this looks pretty good. I'm not getting, like, there's a difference in a lot of games where, like, you're getting 40 FPS and it feels really bad. This is 30 to 40 FPS and it feels pretty good. Like, I'm not having any issues with the scenery. I'm not having any issues with like lag, latency, delay, artifacting, all of those buzzwords. I'm not really having any problems. I'm gonna up the settings really quickly. We're gonna go back to, I guess, this ultra, or maybe high, because it'll let me stay on high. Yeah. I mean, let's just see if this 3080 will accept the 4590. Dang, it does look so much better on this. Let's see if it's slower. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there's definitely some slowness moving to it. It's not like unplayable, but you can tell. I feel like that's a good spot to call it. We're gonna go ahead and switch to the Ryzen 5 2600 and see how that pairs with the 3080. All right, you guys, so now we have the Ryzen 5 2600 loaded up. We've got the 3080 in the case. As you can see, I'm once again using my daughter's blocks to hold this bad boy up. It did start us back over at the beginning of the tutorial. I will tell you guys exactly how I got through that end there, because I looked it up and it really didn't help, so I had to just keep playing around with it, but I did eventually beat it. Let me see the settings it defaulted us on here really quick. As before, you can see the utilization of everything up there. What did it default us to? Okay, so we're still on low. What were we hitting on the 4590? Like 90 FPS? Still looks so good. It's so surprising to me that like this old hardware can run stuff like this. Now I'm going to say this because it's really important. In this game specifically, I've never seen another game take as long to load. I still think it looks so cool that it does that at the ground with his feet when he runs. It is very frustrating how long it takes. And I think the slower the CPU, significantly longer amounts of load time it takes. I'm gonna speed run through all this because I don't wanna have to play through it again. But it looks like we're getting about the same FPS, potentially even lower in some points. That doesn't make sense. I'm probably just not good at math or reading or any of that stuff. I don't know, maybe it does feel a little less smooth, which would not make sense. We did go up to high on the other one, didn't we? This feels like it could be running a little worse. I forgot to pay attention to how much the CPU is actually being utilized, if it was maxing out the GPU or anything like that on the last one. So I told you guys, I'm never the most scientific at all of this. All right, jump. Okay, so to beat this part, you have to do the blinding light thing and then hit control. I don't know if you have to just press it once. I guess it's just press it once and then it'll let you do the blinding light. So there you have it. I do want to throw the graphics up higher again. I'm just trying to look at like the graphics for you guys and see like what I'm actually looking at. I am curious. I want to turn this down to low really quick and just see if that like, oh, there's a cinematic. Interesting, okay. Oh yeah, that did lower it a lot. I'm looking at this part right here. I want to lower, or I want to raise it back up to ultra. I don't think we can handle cinematic on this 2600. Yeah, that improved it. It looks a lot clearer. I mean, this is still a very playable experience. So this is, I forgot to look up when this 2600 came out, but I have to imagine it was probably like 7 or 8 years ago or longer at this point. And we're still pumping out well over 60 frames on a 3080 on ultra settings. And it looks pretty solid. Yeah, I feel like this is probably a good spot to call it for this particular CPU. I am really curious now that we're gonna be on the Ryzen 5 5500 if we're gonna notice a massive difference, if we're gonna see a boost in FPS, just overall visual quality. You know, if the 3080 is kind of just boosting the performance of these CPUs, because I imagine if we paired this CPU with a weaker graphics card, it would not look like this. All right, so we're gonna call it there. We're gonna swap over to Space Marine 2, and we'll benchmark at that on the Ryzen 5 2600. All right, guys, so we are now with the Ryzen 5 2600 loaded up on Space Marine 2. It does look like we're getting maybe 4 to 10 FPS more. I think we're getting like 30 to 40 FPS. I do need to check and see what the settings are on this though. Borderless, I think, weren't we on full screen before? I can't remember. No limit. Oh, it's on custom. Not enough. Oh, this is the one that was saying VRAM couldn't do ultra. So let's try low to start. It looks pretty good. I think it might look even, might look even better on low on here. I think it does. Maybe it doesn't. I never know, you guys. But yeah, we're gonna try and play some of this, see if there's any difference. I will turn it back up to the higher settings. This is way cooler. Okay, now we're dropping down to 40 FPS. Okay, cool. I do want to up this up to, you guys are probably laughing at me because I'm a complete doofus and didn't know how to do that on the last one. I do want to up this to high because that's what we did on the last game, or the last CPU. Oh yeah, it feels a little worse now. I feel like I'm supposed to go over that way, aren't I? This is what ends up happening when I play games and I don't know what I'm doing. We're actually not getting like a lot less FPS. 30 FPS while in game. I mean, it's not like a bad 30 FPS. I'm shooting the wrong things here. It feels relatively playable, but I'm also just shooting a gun. So I am curious, like whenever we get up, ow! Whenever we do get up close here, how much that's gonna change. C to parry. Oh wow, okay. Yeah, this is a pretty playable 30 FPS. Like when I'm getting 30 FPS in like Black Myth Wukong, it feels really bad. But this is not bad. Well, I feel like this is probably a good place to call it. We'll go and swap over to the Ryzen 5 5500 and see how that performs on Crimson Desert and Space Marine 2. All right, so now we have Crimson Desert up on the Ryzen 5 5500. Again, immediately I'm going to say this is the worst game I've ever had to load. However, the transition from the 4590 to the 2600, I noticed a small amount of, I guess a large amount of difference. I mean, like I said, it took me an hour just to load the game. Between the shaders, there's this blue flying screen that you have to go through, and then getting into the game itself was like an hour on the 4590. On the 2600, it was probably 10, 15 minutes, and on this, it was like 3 minutes. So I am noticing a quality of life and the difference for the CPU as far as just like getting into the game and actually like not wasting all your time trying to just play it. So I'll run through the settings for you guys. Ooh, oh, that was really slow. I'll run through the settings for you guys really quick. Oh, we're on ultra still. I'm gonna put it on low to start, and then we'll go back up to potentially high. I guess it defaulted us to ultra. So quality check again. I mean, we're in a different scene here. I'm still just blown away at how good video game graphics looks these days, but 97 FPS, 90 FPS. We'll walk around a little bit and see if it's like stable. There's a bull. Yeah, so this was some of the issues that I was having with the game. Yeah, so this was something I said and someone else kind of reconfirmed in, I guess, the 20... Whoa, you guys, I'm having some really bad stutters here. And I don't know if it's because I'm maxing out the CPU. Like the CPU is getting rather warm, and I had the same problem whenever I was trying to run the Ryzen 5 5500 the last time. It was getting kind of warm and getting really utilized. Hopefully I'm not ruining any of like the storyline for you guys that want to play it or actually like go through it, and I apologize in advance if I am. Okay, so now we got into a fight scene, so we're gonna get to see how this 5500 does. If you guys watched the 2080 video, I did have problems where it was like jumping up almost to 80 degrees. So we're gonna see how well it does, the kind of FPS, if there's stability, lag, delay, any of that kind of stuff. I don't remember how to dodge. Wow, this is really violent. All right, we helped that guy. Didn't feel bad there. Oh, that blood looks really bad. That looks really bad. It's kind of pixelated looking on this low. It looks kind of fake. Yeah, that doesn't look great to me. I do want to bump it up because I think we're supposed to be able to run a little hotter or a little higher on the 5500 than we were on the other stuff. So it let me go to ultra. I really do want to see if we can do cinematic, if we can push it, because the 3080 should be able to handle it, but this processor might not. In fact, we're probably going to see it jump up in the temperature.
Maybe it'll take a liking to you.
Sometimes I really can't tell like the difference between cinematic and low. Let's drop this down really quick to low. Can you guys tell? Yeah, okay, there is a major difference there. So this is low. I'm gonna go back up to cinematic really quick. We did drop like 40 FPS, 30 FPS doing this, but there's a lot more like clarity, there's more structure, there's lines. Visually, it is a different thing, a different experience. But as I was saying earlier, something that someone else mentioned that I kind of thought, the game looks really clumpy in some areas. Like if you're not up close, it just, like far away, I don't know. Cyberpunk is one of those games that's like measured for its graphic fidelity and quality, and I feel like it's superior to this. But I could be wrong. I'm just a guy, like I always say, I'm just a guy on the internet, and I don't know what I'm talking about. I just half attempt to play these games. I feel like this is probably a good spot. Let's go ahead and drop over to the Space Marine 2 game and test that out on this 5500. On this specific game, Crimson Desert, I do feel like there was a small incremental difference in the performance, but it's the quality of life that I'm really feeling it. Like things are loading in quicker, you're not having to wait for shaders nearly as long. So those are the things I'm noticing a benefit of. All right, so we're on the 5500 and Space Marine 2. Run you guys through the settings really quick. This is the 5500 and the 3080. Still on native. No frame gen on. That should be important to notice. So we're on high. I want to drop us down to low because that's what we started out on the other CPUs. So we were averaging like what, 30 to 40 FPS. I will say I have noticed some just stutters here and there. And I'm assuming it's because of the heat from the CPU, maybe? I'm not sure. Maybe I just have a bad 5500, or I need something more than the stock cooler, which I've had a couple people comment on, saying that like that could be the case. This is smoother. I am feeling like I'm getting much more out of this than I was the 2600. Other than the 1% lows, it feels like, where I do get like, we saw it on the Crimson Desert where I was getting some lag, but even here, like in these hardcore epic scenes of fighting and all that, like it does feel smoother. I am getting higher FPS even than what I was just like normally running around. So that feels like it's enough here. Let me swap over to probably high. I don't think it'll let me run ultra. Yeah, I don't have enough VRAM. Also, I am thinking about hopefully at some point maybe getting like a 5060 Ti with an 8 gig, and I want to see if we can like push that to a point where we're on 1440p, like we're just over capping the 8 gigs to see if like it is a 1440p capable card, if people should get frustrated. I have other ideas like that, so I don't know if you guys would ever be interested. All right, so wow, that really didn't drop us like at all. I guess we did drop down like 12 FPS, which is a lot when you're dealing with what you have right now. Yeah, okay, I mean we're on high and we're still sitting 50 to 58 FPS. I think I am starting to see that there is absolutely a difference between the experience we were getting on those other two CPUs, the 5500. The real test is going to be when we go from the 5500 to the 9600X. How much do we jump up from there? Because this is like 55 if you find it used, up to like maybe $100 CPU, and even the Ryzen 5 9600X is still going for $180 to like $200. That does not look as good. I don't know if it's just the lighting. Yeah, I guess it's just the lighting. That feels like a good spot to call. Let's go ahead and swap over to the 9600X and see like what level of improvement. So what we've seen so far is the 4590 to the 2600 was incremental inside the gameplay, but really impactful like as far as just the quality of life, of the load time, all that kind of stuff. From the 2600 to the 5500, significantly faster there, and we're seeing a pretty good amount of performance improvement here. I mean, even if you take into consideration like 10 to 15 FPS is probably at this rate, that's probably like what, 20 to 30% of the performance. So that is a lot. So let's see what the 9600X does and go from there. All right, guys, we have the 9600X with Crimson Desert loaded up. It is about that time of the day where my little one has decided to come into my office. So if you hear her, or if you start hearing Bluey singing in the background, hopefully any monetized videos I have in the future don't get demonetized. But we are going to take a look at the game, the settings. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the settings really quick. So it was on Ultra. I'm going to drop everything down to low just so we can kind of get a baseline of where the FPS is. So I think on the 5500 we were getting like 80 to 90 FPS. So even on low, we're still sitting at like 20 plus FPS. Quality-wise, I think it looks slightly better. It's hard to know when you're looking at them. Actually, maybe it does look better. I feel like you can see more inside like the eyes, like the redness and all that. So we're gonna run around, just do a little bit here. I feel like we could probably get away with just running this at ultra or higher. Again, sorry, it's that time of the day for my little one to be up here, so she's very excited about something. I do want to go look at these horses really quick. Can I look at these horses? Are we about to ride them? Okay, up close they really look good. See, this is the same problem I had when I played this the last time, is it's just things kind of look rough far away. I am going to turn this up to ultra really quick because I think we can run with that. That's what it had us on. Actually, cinematic. I want to go to cinematic just because I want to see how much the FPS drops and if it looks a lot better. I mean, it looks really good. I don't know what she's yelling in the background over there, guys. Oh, you see the horsey on the screen? Yeah, Daddy's riding a horsey in a video game. So we're still, it did drop us like 40 FPS to go down to the cinematic. That's crazy. I just don't think it looks that good far away on stuff. Maybe if you play up closer like this. I should have put the VRAM on here. I wish I would have done that. I'm sorry, guys. I should have put that setting on there to see if we're like nearly capping the VRAM or not. All right, I do want to look at the face again while we're on ultra. I'm gonna drop it down to low one more time because I just like doing this because I like to see the difference. So settings, oh, we're on cinematic, sorry. Apply. Dang, even on low, I think this looks better than it did on ultra, maybe on all of the other ones. And maybe there's not that much of a difference between low and ultra. Yeah, there definitely is. Might look worse on ultra. I don't know. I feel like that's a good spot for Crimson Desert. I wanted to get into a fight, but I couldn't find anything. So let's go ahead and go over to Space Marine, and then we'll close the video up, give you guys my final thoughts. All right, guys, we have Space Marine 2 loaded up on our 9600X. Ignore the GPU 2. I can't seem to get rid of it, even though it's not acknowledging. There is another GPU. We're going to run through the settings really quickly here. Full screen. I do not want performance on. We had native on everything else, so we'll keep it native here. Make sure there is no frame gen on. Why is there frame gen on this? And everything's on low. So we're going to keep it on low to start, just to make it kind of as fair as possible. I think we're getting like up to 50-ish FPS. So immediately we're getting 40 FPS boost just from the CPU. Yeah, so we are getting, 40 FPS boost just on a different CPU. It does look pretty solid. I feel like this is probably enough to see on the low. The gameplay is extremely responsive, very, very, very smooth. I feel like we can just go ahead and boost it all the way up. So this is where I think we're starting to see like a massive difference between like lower end or mid-tier CPUs to this is like you're actually getting to bump the graphics card or the graphics settings up and utilize it more. And if that's something that's really important to you, like, then obviously that's something you should be doing. Now, it's going to tell us here we also still can't go on ultra because we don't have enough VRAM, which is being monitored there. I don't understand why or how, because it's sitting at like 5. Oh, there we go. Dude, there's so much like bloom on this. Okay, so we dropped down to 70 FPS. I kind of wanted to look at this again. Let me go back up here where there's some sun. Is there still sun here? Not really. It does look really good. I think the massive difference is when there is slightly improved FPS, you are getting absolutely everything you can out of the GPU, and it's pulling a lot of wattage. Jeez. I'm dead. That was actually challenging. I guess it would help if I knew what in the world I was doing. But the gameplay was really smooth before I died there. I felt like I was getting a lot out of it. Yeah, I mean, so I feel like this is probably a good spot. Let's go ahead and close up the video. I'll give you guys my final thoughts and we'll get moving on with our lives. I'm always just so fascinated and blown away at the fact that old hardware is still capable of relatively modern gaming. I mean, this 4590 and the Ryzen 5 2600, like, actually held their own on 1440p, which is insane to me that you could purchase something. I think you can literally find a 4590 for like $5 or $10 on the used marketplace, and I don't know about the motherboard, maybe that's 15 bucks or something, but like, it's just old hardware, so it's just surprising. But I think we did have a couple answers when it came to at least this specific RTX 3080, excuse me there, I can't speak. The further you upgraded the processor, the more you did unlock graphic quality and just a little bit more FPS. Would I say I would go out and go from a DDR4 to a DDR5 RAM system? Probably not. I mean, at least not for that. I mean, if you have a 5090, I'd love to do a benchmark like this on a 5090, but I think that would probably be completely overkill. But anyway, on a card like the 3080, I think we definitely saw that the 2600 to the 5500 jump was pretty good, pretty solid. And if you're sitting on a 5500, maybe you can just sell that and get like a 5600X or something a little bit stronger, and you're going to be pretty satisfied on a 3080, in my opinion. Would it be worth going to a 9600X? I don't know. By the time you factor in like the price of RAM, the CPU itself, having to get a new motherboard, like, you're really going to pay $400 or more just to upgrade to get I guess 20 or 30 FPS in this scenario would be like a 30-40% boost. So I guess it could be worth it, but it felt very playable on the 5500. Even the 2600 was pretty solid too. So yeah, always interesting finds in these videos. I hope that if you guys are looking at a 3080 or a similar card, that perhaps this did, give you some insight on whether or not you should be going for more CPU power, or if you're, looking at your CPU, if it could handle a 3080. Hopefully it gave you some insight there. If there's anything you guys would like to see me test out, I have tons of other content on here. You can kind of go through and see what type of stuff I've done before, what type of equipment I might still have. I'm always kind of changing through it, but I hope you have enjoyed. I do hope to see some of you guys in that first time builders class on Friday, March 27th at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Like I said, it's only if you're a very beginning PC building individual. But if you're just like, hey, I want to build a PC that can function, maybe you can help me with some basic cable management, like those kinds of things. I know there's YouTube content, there's internet content, there's all kinds of stuff that help you with that. But one-on-one sessions, or at least in a small class setting, is a really good way to ask the questions that you would want to find on the internet, but it's really hard to find the answers for. I've probably built, I don't know, 20 to 30 PCs at this point, so I'm only a beginner. There's people that have built thousands that are way smarter than I am, but when I started all this like 3.5, 4 months ago, I would try to look up on YouTube and Google things, and finding specific answers are really hard. So I just thought it might be nice to have a small class setting and give people an opportunity to come in and hang out and ask questions without having to Google it or search it, or even, feel maybe like embarrassed that they don't know that, because it's okay. So consider signing up for that. Otherwise, catch some of these videos as you guys are leaving, and I'll see you in the next one.